Welcome to Bronx Tales in your weekly recap video of everything discovered in the Idaho 4 case this past week. Welcome to Bronx Tales in your weekly recap video of everything discovered in the Idaho 4 case this past week. With your host, Bronx EV, and me, I'm Logan. Thank you for being here. POV put out a video regarding the tail end of suspect vehicle 1 and the tail lights. Check it out.
FBI concludes that the third brake light is low on the rear window. This is an assumption. Number 1, defense claim. In the make model chart number 2 by the FBI, image 8 above, and it doesn't show us image 8 above, is highlighted that the FBI concludes that the third brake light is low on the rear window. This is an assumption and not a fact, as the rear window is not visible in the image in page 8. This right here, folks, is what's going to free Brian Kohberger. Well, I want you to remember this because it talks about how the FBI concludes the third brake light is low on the rear window. And that's one of the defining characteristics they're using on the vehicle that's circling the King Road neighborhood to say that it's Brian Kohberger's car. But there's more to this before we actually get into that. The conclusion of the make, model, and year exam was conducted with the totality of the submitted videos and images, not specifically represented within the charts. In probably Imel's opinion, the balcony videos, there's a couple things I just need you to remember. Third brake light's low on the rear window. The balcony videos, this is the 1112 video specifically, depicting the questioned vehicle on November 13, 2022, depicted the third brake light in the lower window approximately 6 times at the listed time. So not only are they really zeroing in on the third brake light being low in the window, but they're specifically telling us which video it's from, and they're giving us exactly the times that they're saying that this is readily identifiable. And the times they list are 3:33:01, 3:40:26, 3:58:24, 4 o'clock and 42 seconds, 4:06:34, and 4:20 and 47 seconds. So what he specifically says is the balcony videos 6 times. He specifically says 6 different times we can determine that those brake lights in the rear window are low. And that's how we're determining what kind of vehicle it is. 6 times. And it gives us the times. 3:33, 3:40, 3:58, 4 o'clock, 4:06, 4:20, and 47 seconds. Now, the first time I looked at this, I took a double take and I went, dang, I don't remember the suspect vehicle pulling through and pulling out again at 4 o'clock and 42 seconds. That's weird. Did I miss a whole run of a vehicle all these years? And then I remembered, wait a minute, 4 o'clock and 42 seconds, that's the DoorDash driver's car. And I'll be danged. If Imel isn't listing in his 6 times to verify the placement of the rear taillight being low on the car, he will list one of the times as the DoorDash driver. And what's even worse is their brake light is not even low on the window. Let's look at 4 o'clock and 42 seconds. Here's the first run of it. Look, I've slowed it down. Look, there's the DoorDash driver's vehicle that we all know is the DoorDash driver pulling out, not suspect vehicle. We'll zoom in a little bit and we'll slow it down. See the tail light, brake light up there in the top of the window, not in the bottom. So not only is it not the suspect vehicle, it's the DoorDash driver driving out. Their rear tail light's not even in the right spot. So, dude, FB incompetent. You listed one of the verifiable times to identify a feature on suspect vehicle as the DoorDash's freaking sport utility vehicle? And you put this in there and you said 6 times and listed this exact time? How incompetent are you, FB incompetent? Can you believe that? Can you believe an FBI agent with all those years of experience would put that in a rebuttal in a court document when you're convicting a quadruple unaliver? And this is one of the biggest cases that the country, the world has seen in years. And you are that sloppy to put the wrong vehicle listed as one of your determining factors on where the placement of a rear brake light is? That should be just mind-boggling in of itself. But so in the end, as I'm going to show you, this entire case comes down to 3:33:01, 3:40:26, 3:58:24, 4:06:34, and 4:20 and 47 seconds, because those are the times that suspect vehicle that they claim is suspect vehicle is seen driving around the neighborhood and is caught on the balcony videos. And that is going to be the end of the case against Brian Kohberger, because no. And let's look here. I put it on extra slow. And by the way, when you put it on extra slow when you're doing video, it's okay. You can speed it up, slow it down. It gives you more accurate representation. Unlike audio, where if you slow it down and speed it up, it makes words sound like words that you want to hear. But you can see right here, here's the vehicle. And what you're looking at right here, when you see these lights, see, this is another vehicle right here. And this is the reflection of the light. So you kind of have to ignore this. And you're looking in this area right here for the actual things that they want you to see. So these lights are just reflections. Try to ignore them. And as we go through this, let's do it like this. All right. And then it comes out and then it plumes and you can't see much. So let's go back to where you can see. That blocks the tail lights, and you can see this light right here is what they're saying is the rear brake light low in the window. When we go to the other side of this, all right, so you can see right here, this is likely the tail light right here of the vehicle. And you can see it does kind of match a Hyundai Elantra. I would say this probably is a Hyundai Elantra right here. Very similar anyways, because that tail light kind of makes it look that way, but it might not be. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter because that's not the car that we're focused on. Now, the next one, it said 420 and 26 seconds. And again, or 340 and 26 seconds. So here's the vehicle right here, and you can see its rear brake light right here. Or is that the headlight? Let's see. Let's let it play. All right, that is the headlight. And then as it comes through, there's the brake light, and it kind of plumes and it keeps going. Now, let me show you something interesting about this vehicle. I don't think this is the same vehicle as the first one, just simply because of this. And this is what's going to end up freeing Kohberger in the end. You see, when you really slow it down, and they gave us the exact time to look at, you see that right there? You see this big, giant, illuminated, I don't know if it's the tail light, probably the tail light, but you also see this chair right here. See this chair? The back of this chair comes up and it goes like this. So what you're seeing is, it looks like that's where the tail light stops, but it actually don't. That's where the chair right here is blocking this tail light from being actually seen. 358.24, yep. Okay, 358.24, and this is a different vehicle, but as it comes through, when we first get a glimpse on it at 24, you can see it's got this big blooming rear tail light again, and it's blocked off by this chair. And that's interesting because that's different than that first vehicle that we seen come through. It never had this big blooming rear tail light, which tells me that was a different vehicle. But let's just let it play here. So we'll let it play. You can see that big blooming tail light right there. And this is actually playing. This is actually moving video. There it goes through. It comes out. You can see the rear tail light in the window. Then it blooms. All right, so let's look at that again slow. There's the rear tail light and lower window, and then you got all of that blooming once it comes past the rail that you can't see nothing right there. So interesting. This is the one that's going to free Kohberger, though, y'all, because it is a much better view, and it's at 406.31. Let's look. 406.34. 406.31. Oh, I must have let this one play for a second. Let's let it play. 406.31, 32, 33, and then 34. Okay. There it is. And then it comes past the rail. There's the tail light, and then it blooms. Did y'all see it in this one, though? By slowing this stuff way down and knowing exactly the time to look at and what the FBI was pointing to, I discovered this. The chair didn't block it near as much this time. Look at this. It goes almost the entire back of this vehicle right here. There's a whole back of that vehicle right there. It's not just, that's why the tail light's blue. Remember, this is reflection. This is the rear tail light of this vehicle. Look at the size of the outline of this thing. There is no way they can say that is Brian Kohberger's car right there. And the FBI pointed to when you look at it. Look at it.
Look at that. Look at that. Looking good. Looks really good. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Yeah. Look at that.
You can see the entire rear end of this vehicle. And then as it goes past the lights, you'll see there's the brake light in the window right there. And then the blooming. But right here, Gives you a view of the entire back of that vehicle. That's definitive proof. That's not Brian Koberger's car. I'm going to send this one to the defense.
Jules played an interview with one of the occupants of 1119 King Road, which is the view that we see when watching the 1112 video camera footage. It's the house directly across the street from 1112. And this is what they had to say.
But we ended up going over this interview information right here from a girl that used to live at 1119 King Road. 1119 King Road is the house that you see the front-facing portion of in the 1112 King Road camera footage that we on this channel purchased and put out to the public last year. She also mentions how she was at the Sigma Chi party. She mentions a tiff over a girl in an ego v ego type little situation that apparently didn't get physical. She has some information about a situation that happened with Enon Harsh. There's some interesting things in what she has to say, but then she also, I feel at least, and I made this very known in my live last night, I feel like she's trying to place herself into a level or a label of importance that really doesn't exist in reality. So she is claiming that she was friends with all of them, with Xana, with Ethan, with Maddie, with Kaylee, but she was never once invited into the house. And my stance with that is that these were people that constantly had people over. They were constantly having little gatherings, little get-togethers, little parties, little powwows, little whatever you want to call them. They constantly had people over. They were a social group of people. So for you to have been friends with all four of them and none of them ever thought to invite you and you literally live next door, that's wild to me. So I would take what she says in way of her relationship to these people with a huge grain of salt, the way that we did in the live last night and the way that I have since listening to this a few months back. There's some interesting things that are said here, but also a lot of like, girl, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and just let this play.
The reason why I chimed in is mainly because I was up there in that time period. I graduated in 2024. I previously lived on 619 West Taylor Ave, and then before that, during the murders, I lived on 1119 King Road. I was at that Sigma Chi party, and I didn't leave until around 1:45, to which I went to my apartment, which is facing directly down the road of King Road. So it's obviously 1119 and we were in the basement. If you're hearing anything before 3 in the morning, 3:30, it's most likely going to be people coming back from the bars, people coming from different house parties, people coming from different white apartment parties, people coming from different fraternity parties, because, I mean, if Sigma Chi is throwing a party, girls are going to be there and girls are going to be allowed in, but fraternity men are not, and all the other fraternities are going to be partying as well. So there's a lot of different things going on. So it's just really hard to single that down when there are quite a few, stagnant individuals that are going to be walking around and going around during these times of night, especially on a Saturday where they don't even have school the next day.
You were at the Sigma Chi party, you said?
Yes, I was. I left around 1:30, 1:45 with my friend Lily, who lived in the apartment with me, and we actually said goodbye to, we were friends with Xana, but Ethan was right next to her. We said bye to Xana as we were heading down the stairs of the Sigma Chi, straight forward through the field to our apartment.
Do you feel comfortable either confirming or denying any rumors about the Sigma Chi party?
I don't have any problem with confirming or denying anything. The only thing is that, I'm one of, 100 plus people that have filtered in and out of that party, so I only have one perspective. Yeah, I'm just, what kind of question? I don't even know what kind of rumors. This isn't even a part of my knowledge of knowing the rumors about the Sigma Chi party.
I think the biggest one would be that there was an argument at the party between Ethan and Loach.
Oh. I wouldn't say that it was an argument. I would say that they were probably just drunkenly conflicting with each other. I don't know if a tiff is the right word, where, when you get drunk and you just kind of have an altercation where it's just like, okay, we're not doing something like that. And this isn't even from my first perspective. This is just because people came from the side and were like, oh no, there was an argument happening, but there was nothing physical going on. There was no altercation that created any concern. It was just, I think the best way to describe it is ego on ego. And just
like visible tension.
Yeah, just who's the bigger man. It had nothing to do with anything deeper than that.
Gotcha. Was that like a long-standing thing? It was just like a known thing between them?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was more like one of them in the past had experienced an emotional connection with a girl, and then now, so in the future, the other is with that gal. So there was just some, not intentional, but they needed to experience that. It was just more about, again,
wow,
ego v ego. So it's nothing like going along the lines of,
wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you aware of, some 4chan posts regarding some of the frat guys?
I mean, yeah, but also as a part of that community. So I also know those frat guys, which at the end of that Linda Lane, there's actually a cop that lives in one of those apartment buildings because we see his cop car he is basically like an undercover cop car that he just uses and he parks there. And we know that because we had sound complaints at one of our sorority member houses, out of houses kind of thing, where we know, okay, we don't want to bother this cop guy because he's working nights. We don't want to bother him. University of Idaho, especially being one of the only universities that allows freshmen to live within fraternity and sorority houses, they're thrown into that party world right away, and we don't really know how to handle our alcohol, and it's just known to be this big party community. So, like them getting noise complaints makes sense. So, coming from a person that went to the university, none of us saw any of this happening. Maybe to just conclude the crazy conspiracists that say that it's a drug house. No, it wasn't. Let's just clarify that if it was a drug house, it would be completely shut down by the university, because that has already happened in previous with fraternities that have, and at the most, we're trying to do cocaine, which I think that the last one that got kicked off of our campus was Kappa Sigma, and it was the year before I got there, so 2019, around that time. And also, again, it's 15 minutes away from Washington, and Floyd's is directly on that border. So if people wanted weed or something like that, then they would go over there. There's nobody that's fiending for fentanyl or any insane, crazy big things. No, that's just insane. That's just absurd. What happened that night was shocking to everybody. I genuinely didn't even expect to wake up and see the cop cars. I just remember my sorority.
Now, we all got the new WSU large release of documents, and Lana found some really interesting points.
What is everybody? Welcome back to the Transparency. Idaho 4, Brian Kober and WSU deep dive the documents here. And there it is, boom. Don Daniels. So Don Daniels was talking to Detective J.R. Talbot. He's the one that did the crime scene. He's your crime scene specialist with Idaho State Police. It was his crime scene. He's the one that messed up a lot of shit and let Payne mess up a lot of shit. Also, why is Don Daniels writing this up? She is the assistant chief of police. Why wasn't I don't know, one of their detectives from Washington State University? This shoes with diamond pattern sole. Very, very hilarious to me, considering they had ruled in their minds and on their paperwork that the scene was trampled on so bad, right, that we cannot attribute that to a suspect. Well, December 29th, they were still looking for a diamond pattern sole. Why would Dawn Daniels be writing that? She must have not got the memo? Please. Okay. I would love to know what personal knowledge Dawn Daniels possessed, because what meetings was Dawn Daniels in? Where's Dawn Daniels' calendar? I have personal knowledge of the matters herein and or am relying on witness statements, information provided by my fellow officers. She has no personal knowledge. Now, they use Dustin Blaker's sworn statement, and in Dustin Blaker's sworn statement, Ryan Kober doesn't make that loop-de-loop. He just heads directly back to Moscow. I mean, to Pullman from Moscow, and that's why they thought that his apartment would have all this shit in it. He leaves out the whole loop-de-loop. I've never seen to this day any search warrant that's been served on WSU. What search warrant is out there that's been served on WSU? Where is there a search warrant for WSU to get into their back end, their server? This is the first email. Oh my God, please contact me or Sergeant Darren Gilbertson. Oh my God, Detective Gilbertson, I have to talk to you now. Holy shit. Okay. Oh my God, this is mind blowing. Oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna cry. I fucking told you this shit. Remember? Do you guys remember Ann Taylor was like, listen, they had Brian Koberger's, they didn't change the year until after Brian Koberger. This is proof. Why would Pullman police officers, okay, be looking for a white Elantra on November 25th, okay, if there was no rollout internally? Capiche? Right here, November 27th is the bolo. Whatever Blaker was doing privately with Chris Engel and the rest of the Pullman Police Department. Like I've been saying, I just couldn't prove it all the way. Now I can officially fucking prove it. And Ann Taylor could too. Oh my God. This is what she was talking about. This is why they are suing the fuck out of these people. Oh my God. Why can't they say the real way that they got to Bryan Kohberger? That's my question since jump. How did you get to Bryan Kohberger? Oh, IGG. Did you? Did you know? Oh my God, wait a second. Oh wait, hold on a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. What day is this? November 27th, right? Oh my God. They don't talk about Indian. They don't talk about Indian Hills. Arrives in the area via. They don't talk about Indian Hills. When Danny Vargas writes in an email and she says that she does it on November 29th. And guess why they did that? So who's their suspect? Eric Gower. Now guys, remember this, please. On November 27th, they already had Bryan Kohberger's name. We got it on the 25th. So why are you putting this out there? Because now we're about to sell it. They all knew it. They've all known so much shit, and they've just been lying their sacks off. You are all probably aware that Kohberger's arrest warrant affidavit was made available to the public today. The affidavit describes the great work Officer Tanego and Sergeant Whitman did tracking down the possible suspect, which was, as it turns out, the suspect. Oh my God! Oh my God, Gary. Note that the timeline for locating the vehicle is not entirely correct in the affidavit. I can't breathe. Holy shit. Oh my God. But a minute. Don't go there because you ain't with it. Here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty. Holy shit. Oh my God. Gary Jenkins comes with the 1-2 and says, hey guys, guess what? I'm going to write this in an email. You guys do know that they lied under oath.
Over here on BronxTails, we actually went through some Pullman documents, which were released back in August, but I haven't seen anybody really talk about them. What I find interesting about the Pullman documents is that a lot of their information isn't redacted at all. They spoke on 2 different subjects that they thought could be a possibility for suspects. One was Indiana Lee Ludwig, and the other was Stephen Hain. You might remember Stephen Hain from a body cam video of officers talking to him as he sat in his vehicle in a park. His vehicle was a black hatchback, and it looked like he lived in his vehicle. I checked out Stephen Hain's Facebook from the time of the crime, and there were some strange, interesting posts. They also found 2 fixed blade knives in his vehicle, but was it investigated? Probably not. I'm going to read this to you. This is from Chris Engel at pullmanwashington.gov. And this is to Detective Blaker in Moscow. This is confidential. It says, hi, Chris. I wanted to mention Indiana L. Ludwig, date of birth 1/19/93, Spillman number 383396. He's the homeless guy we arrested breaking into, stealing, and living in the frats in 2020. And they put the case number. He was also a suspect in an incident involving 2 13-year-old girls, and they put the case number. We ended up with a lot of data from him, having searched his phone and seized his diaries and journals. He was mainly in Pullman, but also visited Moscow and toured UI, etc. He had serious stalker and women issues. I quoted some of his diary entries in my search warrant. This guy, his name is Indiana Lee Ludwig, had serious stalker and women issues. I quoted some of his diary entries in my search warrant. I also saw numerous statements in the notebook involving females. On a page dated 10/7/2020 was written, 18 UNCO Women Target Survivors Houston. Also on the page was written, as a man looking to hunt women, who are we? Pimps, who are weak pimps use violence and money. I don't care who or what you did last night. What can you do over time? Also on the page was, assume the door and windows are open. And WSU theft total, WSU theft. On a page dated 10/22/20 was written, chase women. Also on the page was written, you could have sold beautiful women when you were in New York. Also on the page was written, Don't be careful chasing women. If you see a woman, you want to engage in conversation. Also on the page was written, you may want to sleep in your car tonight just because one man saw you on campus. I sleep on campus in a $400 million dorm for $0. Elite, be careful. We destroy women and men. Fate sometimes with one word and one look. On a page dated 11/21 of 20, which is actually Brian Koberger's birthday, was written, plans 11 o'clock, sleep and hide in $400 million dorm. Also on the page was written, walk WSU with a woman. I noted this entry was dated the same day I spoke with Ludwig about the incident with the 13-year-old girls. On a page dated 11/22/20 was written, steal $4 pens. Also on the page was written, still want to chase Washington State women. It goes on to say, I don't recall him having any weapons. We convicted him on a felony, so he should be in the DNA database. Last I heard, he was in Chewelah, Washington with family. I had records do a DAPS check and could not connect him with an Elantra. They did not investigate him because he was not connected with a freaking white Elantra. Are you effing kidding me? So I looked him up. Let me show you. This is him. This is him with his sister, Ashley Grubb, and she lives in Chewelah, Washington. They obviously thought he was capable of this to bring his name up because they asked, have you spoken or seen of, his name is Indiana Lee Ludwig. Have you seen or spoken to him since 10/2 of 2022? So just a month prior to the crimes. Know is that he's in Pullman all the time and apparently visits Moscow on a regular basis, even would sleep in the dorms there. So this is him. He's in the middle. Yeah. That's him. It says put any supplements or other documents in whatever file folder that is for now. We're not adding anything to Spillman until an arrest has been made or the case goes cold. Update on car info. The car is likely a white, maybe silver, light gray. The only other possible car is a light bronze, but that is highly unlikely. Please add cars you find to Love's spreadsheet. Who knows where Stephen Hain is? Have we contacted him since 10/4 of 2022? I hit up about 45 locations looking for video tonight. Several are promising. If someone returns my call or visit, please forward them to my desk line, blah, 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 blah. Go back to where this is highlighted. They highlighted this, not me. Who knows where Stephen Hain is? Have we contacted him since 10/4 of 2022? So obviously, they think that this person named Stephen Hain could possibly be involved as well. Now, I went and pulled up his Facebook, and I apologize for what is on it, but I'm going to show you some stuff. He's very active on Facebook, and he puts a lot of icky stuff on there.
Senior Wazowski put out an interesting video, and he accentuated one of the time frames from the 1112 camera footage. Now, why in the world would 3 people need to be dressed head to toe in black at that time frame other than to not be seen with whatever activities they were involved in? I'm glad that Senior Wazowski changed the filter on these videos so we could actually see these people, since it seems like law enforcement wants to redact or scrub out people, like the person that spawned up in the middle of the street. Birdie played an interview with somebody who lives in the town of Moscow and had some comments to say about Kathy Mabbitt.
From Moscow, and they are part of the Hive. They were kind enough to record their story. It's a brief story. It's about 2 minutes. This person's obviously still living out there, concerned for privacy reasons. And a lot of these people that she's referencing are still around as well. This person also threw in a little nugget that's going to make your head go.
I am a long-term Moscow resident, and I have watched this town grow from a sleepy little college town that would basically shut its doors during the summer after the students went home to now having housing shortages because so many people are moving here. Over the years, I've learned that there are a small group of people in power and they get what they want. Kathy Mabbitt is one of those people. I had a family member who kept getting in trouble with the law over and over. Finally, they were looking at over 10 years in prison. They hired Kathy Mabbitt as their attorney. Kathy went to sentencing and told Judge that this person does not belong in prison, that they need drug court. And Judge was shocked because of how much trouble this person had been in and asked her if he was sure. And she said, yep, this person needs that. And Judge said, okay, done. She gets what she wants. We also found out during the course of all these court hearings what the Brady violation was around the time of the Idaho 4. So what we heard from an attorney was that there was a suicidal person call. The lead officer ignored the call and went to his girlfriend's house.
Isn't that crazy?
I want to just remind everybody that in some of the positions that Kathy Mabbitt holds, she doesn't have a boss. She doesn't have anybody to look at her work or even question what she's doing. She can do whatever she wants. She can say whatever she wants, and she can report whatever she wants. I also find it interesting that in Kathy Mabbitt's original interview, when she was asked if the victims were stabbed, she would not completely agree to them being stabbed. She said they were more like gouges, which I find interesting. She wouldn't fully agree to the victims being stabbed. She said the wounds looked more like gouges rather than stabs or slits or cuts, which you guys know I naturally think it's because that is from a different weapon. I do think there was a knife involved. I do think that there was the butt of a gun used as a blunt force object, but I also think there was another weapon that left gouge marks rather than stab wounds. Comic Retribution put out a video and her opinion regarding a Christy Gonsalves interview.
Because we've got yet again another day of Christy posting some goofy shit, and this one just came off far too weird for me. I totally sympathize with the families. I just, as a mother, am starting to feel very confused about where Christy's head is fully at. At this point, it's extremely confusing. I so badly want to both hug her and shake her at the same time. I don't understand. Okay, so to start off, this conversation is the weirdest thing to post to me. I cannot fathom what her purpose is behind this. It doesn't make her husband look good at all. If anything, it comes off extremely cryptic, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna play this for you guys and let you comment below what you guys are getting off of this. I think that there is a hidden message here. And if you listen closely to what Steve and his friend or whoever is there with them is talking about, they do speak on corrupt police or a corrupt investigation. And it really makes me wonder what this entire conversation and the context to it was about. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think.
Gun is somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, because that's definitely going to kill your fucking ass. Well, the schools do one, but not the other.
But see, my dad, my gun cabinet, yeah, that's yours. You're 6. Grandpa left it for you, and you can touch it anytime you want, as long as you come get me first. And if I ever catch cookie crumb and paws on that case, you ain't gonna have any arms. And
this might sound really left field, but I cannot help but see this as something cryptic, and I almost feel like this push with the WSU lawsuit is to reopen this case.
And we saw that Open-Minded Perspectives put out a clip of Steve Gonsalves' eldest daughter, Samantha Nelson, putting her thoughts out the internet on the situation and the family itself.
And above all else, Steve, you know what was the scariest for me with this? It wasn't what happened to Kaylee. I was grieving you more than anything. And the fact that everybody was looking at me different. But above all else, it was the fact that this doesn't happen. Your Uncle Nate, his accident, that doesn't just happen. And then Kaylee, that just happens in our family. It's just something that is a regular occurrence. While you're out here with your church and you're wholesome, you know, married, all these kids and picket fence and this image that you want to be, and you make it about me through other people. Because why? Why? I know it's got to be bigger than just guilt and shame. Get over it. We have all made mistakes. I've made more mistakes than I can count, but at least I can hold myself accountable for those. And I've been more naked about this than anybody. I'm not out here doing interviews with strangers. You say, I want popularity. You're all over every screen that I open. People send me things about you I don't want to know, and their theories about it, and it's scary because I don't know where we come from. I don't know where we come from. And I say we because I'm still your daughter. I don't care if you don't get along with my mom. I don't care if you don't like that I travel alone, all the things that you argue with me about. I know we got lots of little fights. You and I don't always see eye to eye, but we have a lot more in common, and we're fiercely loyal. And I'm a really good sister, and this changed my ability to do that over here, and it changed any possibility that I could ever show up for them there. And now they think these things about me because to them, they don't understand why I'm unraveled. They don't understand, but you do. Steve, you do. You know exactly why. And I get my mom reaches out to you, and I get people speak for me. I'm not my mom. You never let me just speak to you. You don't even give me the opportunity unless you can control the narrative, so it can be altered or changed. Even in the slight, I don't care what her story is. Steve, you know my story since forever. Why is it you will go to bat for her and then tell me I've done something wrong to jeopardize anything? Because I don't exist, and I'm not even trying to get close to you anymore. You can fool the whole world and brainwash the whole world, but you owe me an explanation because I have a daughter too. I have a life too, and now I don't have a family. You took my family. You took my sanity. You took my ability to. I thought it was me. You always made me feel like it was my fault. I always thought that I was different or something. Am I the different one? Are you really this protected, fierce dad? Because I'm pretty sure on your watch that happened, and I'm still here. You don't even care. You made me feel like I was special to you because I was on the outside. Like that was a privilege almost, but it was my fault because if I go on the inside, I could potentially harm my siblings. And now my siblings think terrible things about me, and I've tried. Don't act like I didn't try. And Olivia can think that because she's misinformed. I watched them through your eyes, and that was awesome. It wasn't painful for me. I was so excited to beg you for photos of my siblings. But you tainted all of that because you took something that I thought was a part of me, and in her death, you're erasing my birth. Why would it be, Steve, that I can't even be acknowledged? Is it that bad? Is that bad? You're that embarrassed that you had a baby when you were a teenager? Know me, and I'm a part of you, and I do things similar to you. You can shut me up if you tried, but you did. Why? Not for you, for them. And now I don't have that, and I have to speak for myself. And you can't fool me because I was there, and I want you to explain to me how you allowed this to happen. You took everything normal to me. You took everything special to me. But I was the first Gonzalez before you, and I need you to show me some respect, please. I'm sorry about your daughter and my sister, but you're not the only mother in the room anymore, okay? And you guys took my ability to do that and to travel and to have an opinion and to have a normal life. And that's affecting my child. And unlike you, Steve, I do everything for her, even if, and I get it, 'cause sometimes being absent might be the safest bet for that child, right? But I'm not a child, and I'm trying to understand how you got away with being a hero to so many people and profiting in so many ways, to bring awareness to something that's still directly affecting negatively a living child that you made. And then blaming her for that. You're blaming me. You're like, I don't care that I sound sassy. I don't really care. I'm not here to deliver it. I'm not Olivia. I'm not gonna sit here and rehearse that. Like, Olivia, cut the shit. I know you. The second they said that you were gonna have a miscarriage if I open my mouth, I didn't. At all. But the way that you're behaving and doing your oh so subtle stuff, it's not that subtle. And I want to know why that is. You just need me to be the enemy for a minute because you're still grieving? Because I can do that. I'll be the bad guy for you. I'll be the bad guy for any of you. And Autumn, you're too young. You just sit down. You guys can defend them all day, but they're my family and I'm not allowed to talk to them like family because I don't exist. And that I look like I'm attacking them. You didn't live it. I did. You just like the way that it presents itself because you want to stick up for Kaylee and you want to be part of this stuff. And you want to go live and talk about it like you know it and you feel it. I'm in it and nobody acknowledges that. Or what I might be able to share just with my family and not the public, that might maybe bring real justice to one of your children. Because there's still time for that. And you don't care. You just don't care, and that fucking sucks. You suck sometimes. And I'm not angry, I'm just confused, and I'm a little angry, yeah. And I'm supposed to go about this gracefully. I haven't been holding it in for 3 years, 34 in my case. And somehow I'm the one, but I'm the issue. And you're the good dad.
Christy's chaos went through the new WSU document drop like we all did, but she found some interesting information regarding another death that happened the weekend of this crime that we never heard of. Apparently, it was ruled a self-unaliving, but at this point, can we really be sure that that's what it was, since it probably wasn't investigated? And rest in peace to Maxwell Pitts. We have Connor that dropped 2 more interviews on the Sigma Chi boys, who was interviewed by Van Leuven, an ex-Sigma Chi boy. And there's one part that's particularly interesting in that interview.
When did you hear that something bad had happened over there?
The next day at around 11.
Who told you?
Told me. They were texting in our group chat and said that there was an unresponsive person that was found last night.
Okay. And when did you find out that Ethan was one of the victims?
Around 11:30, I think, because I called after that, and then he told me that he was unresponsive and dead.
What was your first reaction when you heard that?
Shock. I was just like, I couldn't believe it.
Did you guess that foul play was involved, or did you think that it might be just an accident or something?
Maybe drinking. I thought maybe drinking,
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I thought, and then I didn't hear.
When you heard it was a homicide, it was a stabbing, and that all 4 of them had been killed, what did you think?
I was in shock. I was like, I had no idea what to think. I couldn't even believe it.
Do you suspect anyone or have any ideas about who might have wanted to do this or why?
No, absolutely not.
Now, Lana also dropped an interview with Showalter, and he claimed the same thing, that he was told in the morning about the unalivings, which is strange because 911 wasn't called until noon, and apparently people didn't know until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it seems like in the very beginning of this case, when WSU mom Kim stated that no, the students definitely knew in the morning, like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And it sounds like she was right, because now 2 people have stated that they received calls early in the morning to inform them of the homicides at 1122 King Road. Now I want to talk about Megan Kelly's 3-hour episode of the Koberger case.
Today we bring you our deep dive into the story of Brian Kohlberger. And then in the heavy quiet of the new Sunday morning, 4 young corpses, all students, all friends, were found hacked to death in their beds in a pale clapboard house, little more than a stone's throw away from the heart of the university campus. There was so much blood, it had seeped through the wooden floors and run down the building's gray concrete foundation in jagged, red rivulets. When the 3 mystified officers approached the front door, someone in the crowd, it would later be shared, muttered a single plaintive word. Dead. Still, Gunderson would confess to others he was unprepared for the strong smell of blood that rose up in his nostrils the moment he walked inside. The coroner, who had once been an emergency room nurse in an earlier stage of her life, would describe the scene in press interviews as chaos, lots of blood. Few others would even attempt to put into words what they saw. The pair was gruesomely drenched in blood, yet both had their good-looking faces oddly preserved, like masks. Even at that probing moment, it was difficult, one of the young officers would later nearly wail, to look at the 20-year-old pair. They were Ethan and Xana. On the third floor, things got, if possible, worse. In one bedroom, lying in a single bed, were two inert women. It was Maddie and Kaylee. They might have been sisters, so similar were the 21-year-old's pretty Barbie doll-like sculpted features, their long cascades of thick, streaked blonde hair falling down to their narrow shoulders. There was one gruesome difference. Kaylee, it would be reported, had been hacked with a particular ferocity. It was as if her wild assailant, or was it assailants, had been intent on gouging out chunks of her flesh. Large punctures was how the lacerations had been described. Maddie's wounds, while no less fatal, appeared less feral, more measured, at least in comparison.
I mean, I don't know where they get their information from because it seems like episode after episode, there is misinformation and it's very frustrating. We can very much tell that none of these mainstream media people read any of the documents. And those are the main points in the Idaho 4 case that were discovered just this last week, and all of the channels will be linked in the description box below. Do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Bye, guys.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough,